Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. My name is Nimesh, Radia, and I'm your host. I always love starting every episode by saying thank you. I feel so blessed with this podcast, the impact it's having, the people it's reaching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My intention was really to guide people on the spiritual journey and to really simplify spirituality when I started. It was a passion project with one episode a month, and now I do 2 a week. And the messages we receive, the impact it's having, I feel so very blessed. And every episode is channeled, nothing scripted. We talk about the topic and what makes sense, especially when it's me and Stacey. Consider how do we make sure that the episodes are connected but are still new. And if there's any ideas or topics you have, please let us know. If you're a regular listener, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. Let us know if you have any feedback. Feedback is always a blessing. I am an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, podcast host, podcast creator, as well as a spiritual coach and mentor. I love what I get to do. I get to guide people on their spiritual journey. I get to hold your space while you're going through a shift. I do that in so many ways. I love the mentorship program that me and Stacey channeled a few years ago. We either individually or together, we take you through 12 weeks of holding your space, holding your energy as you go through your shifts through your four bodies, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. It's beautiful. We guide you to you. And it's shifting lives. I love starting that journey with you and seeing your light shine when you're going through it. And currently I have a promo where I'm including Akashic training. And so it's a beautiful time to sign up. I have a beautiful membership group, which is a safe space, a safe community to really share your energy, your vibration. I share energetic updates. There's so much going on. We always have a monthly free moon webinar. By the time I release this episode, we just experienced the May 1st full moon. So I'm sure we'll have another one end of May. But I love what I get to do. I also know, and I'm very aware, this podcast wouldn't be where it is today without the beautiful, stunning, the published author and amazing healer, and also my co-host, Stacey Brown. Stacey, now I got to do it. Over to you. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, friends. It's good to be back for another episode. I'm really looking forward to getting into it with you today. My name is Stacey. I'm an intuitive. I do readings for people from all around the world. I'm also an Akashic record reader and a spiritual coach and mentor. I'm also a Reiki practitioner and a published author. My book, Journey to Soul Center, Discovering the Gift of Surrender, is available on Amazon and Audible. I really love the work that Nimesh and I do and the way that we help people to understand more about who they are and why they're here so that they can move forward living a life of fulfillment. I feel super blessed that we get to show up on this podcast every week and pour into you. And if our voices resonate, please reach out. I have a women's free Facebook group that is private and growing and doing beautifully. It's a great community to connect. If you want more information, just send me a message. All of our information is included in the show notes because we encourage you to reach out to us. We love hearing from our listening audience. So whether it's with a topic idea or a shout out to us or the need for help and you're not sure where to turn, please reach out to us. That's why we're here and we love what we do. Nims, I'm looking forward to this episode. How you doing?
I'm good. So I'm looking forward to it too. It's for me, it's really interesting energy, and kind of feel like every episode we record jointly between me and you, and also the guests. Everything's kind of connected, and we're always kind of mindful of making sure that the topics are connected, but they're also different. Last week we talked about you're doing everything, but you're still not moving forward. And I know with the message we get, a lot of people can relate to that, right? It's that doing so much and reshifting so much. But really the connected part of that is what we're going to talk about today. You've outgrown your life, and now what? We've been going through so many shifts for so long. We just the last few years. It's just, for me, this cycle began 2018. And then we had COVID, and then been doing so much karmic release, so many cycles. We've been through so many shifts, and at times it felt like it's been so quick that we haven't even had time to integrate. And it's just like ongoing, continue to come, continue to come. And I feel like right now, for many of us, we've outgrown our life. And we did an episode of outgrowing your life, but you don't belong in your life, but your new life's not created yet. And this is kind of similar. You've done so much work. It's similar, but it's different. You've done so much work. You don't belong in your life anymore. But now what? You're still in this holding pattern. Maybe your new life's not ready yet. But now what? What does that even mean? That's what we're going to dive into today. And it's like, I guess the first thing I'd mention is, it's that moment, and actually maybe ask the listeners, can you resonate with this? Do you feel like you belong in your life? Do you feel like it's almost like in many ways you're an alien in your own life? The things that used to excite you don't excite you anymore. And you feel different. Maybe the career you're in doesn't fit anymore. Maybe the relationship you have don't fit anymore. But the first thing I'd say is recognize that you've outgrown your life. Consider, when was the moment you realized when you're no longer fit who you become. And like we talked about last week, it doesn't mean anything's wrong. It just means that you've outgrown this life. You've outgrown a life that you worked so hard to do, so hard to build. And you haven't done anything wrong. But it is important. The first thing is always to recognize you've outgrown your life. You've outgrown something you worked so hard to be. But that's powerful, right? You haven't done anything wrong. Everything you created, this environment you're in, you did it. But acknowledging that you don't fit anymore, acknowledging that world that you worked so hard for isn't yours anymore, actually starts a powerful shift. And that's really what we want to dive into. Is that moment you realize you've outgrown your life. And now what? But Stacey, let me ask you the question. How does that feel to you when I say to you, you've outgrown your life? And I know you're creating a new one, right? But what does that mean to you? So when I ask you the question, do you feel like you've outgrown your life?
I feel like I've outgrown a season of my life, and I'm going into a new one, and it feels very unfamiliar and very uncomfortable because everything feels new, right? From my living space to my work environment to my personal life, like everything is new. And I'm trying to embrace that the best way that I can. But I also feel like it's normal to go through a period of feeling disoriented and off kilter when you have had so much change in such a short amount of time.
That's interesting, right? I mean, I was having a conversation with 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 someone that's been on the podcast before, and we kind of an exchange of readings yesterday, and um, she kind of read my energy, and we talked about my frequency always changing. So, for me, I feel like I've been going through this shift of outgrowing my existence many times over a short period of time, and honestly, there's times I'm jaded. Honestly, there's other times I'm excited. I love, as you said, I love what we get to do. I love, I love guiding people through this because I feel like so many of my clients right now are feeling this. They've outgrown their existence, and actually, they're in a good place to embrace whatever new comes. And this is the trick. It's like letting go of the outcome, letting go of now what, accepting the way you're exactly where you're meant to be. And what if it's okay to be to be okay with not knowing what's coming next. Again, with the work that we do, it's kind of easier to see it on other people than it is to see it in yourself sometimes. I'm very aware with kind of being open the Akashic records and feeling the energy of the planet and how much the planet is shifting, and how much discomfort people are in, how many people are feeling like they don't belong anymore, and it's like, what does that result in? That results in anger, emotion. Just look at the world and look at how much anger and emotion there is there, and all of that stems from outgrowing our world and being uncomfortable with it. So there's a lot of people being uncomfortable right now. But how do you feel in this moment? If you're listening to this podcast, are you okay with outgrowing your life? Are you okay with waiting for whatever's coming next? How do you feel about this discomfort about outgrowing people, environments, routines? I talk a lot about creating your soul family on this podcast. I do feel like that it is time for us to take a step back and look at the people in our world and what we do, and just, do we have people that allow us to be ourselves? Do we have people that allow us to grow? Or do you have people in your life where you have to lower your vibration? That's when it's time to let go of those people that you've outgrown. You're not helping yourself or them. And I get it, make it sound easy, right? But you sit with each person and just really feel their energy and just, well, hold on. This person, am I done with the soul contact with this person? Yes, no. And trust your intuition. Am I outgrown this thing I do, this environment I visit? Have I outgrown it? This routine? It really is a time of trusting your intuition. It's easy for me to say, let go of the version of you that kept everything together, because you love that version. But it's like anything, things come to an end. And so letting go of that version, embracing him or her, loving him or her, is so, so important. So Stacey, when I asked you, are you ready to, we talked about this a little bit this week, in terms of, are you ready to let go of that version? And truly embrace whatever's coming next. How does that feel? Does it scare you? Does it excite you? How does it make you feel?
I think it makes me feel a little bit of everything, right? There's some excitement that there's something new coming and that it's going to look different than what the past has been. And then there's part of me that is sad that I'm letting that past go and moving forward. So it's bittersweet. There's so much emotion. There's so much that you feel when you're going through a season of closure. And to me, it's like you have a favorite pair of shoes and you go to put them on one day and they don't fit anymore. And you can sit there and try to force your foot, but at the end of the day, new shoes are going to be a part of your future, and I feel like I'm in the season right now of looking for those new shoes. What do I like? What do I want? What do I feel is right for me? What's aligned with me? And it's taking me some time, but I think that the hard part is the in between. I really feel like the in between is where it's challenging.
So, I mean, it's true. It is that. I mean, I guess for me, is it challenging, or is it um is it challenging, or is it expanding? And it's like everybody goes through things differently, right? And it's just that I'd say for me, it's uncomfortable, and I feel like for a while, um, I'm sure people can relate. We wait for the clarity. We wait for the. I need to understand what's going on. I need some nudges about what I should be doing. I need some nudges about what the future holds. Give me some, especially when you're working, give me some information, give me some insight. And I feel like, as so often recently, we've been asked to take a trust. We've been asked to trust and take that leap without knowing what's coming, because I feel like the clarity does come after it. And the human in us, it's like I spent 30 years in the corporate space, so there's I'm used to planning, right? And I feel like the human in us wants a plan, wants to know clear next steps. And anyone that's been on this spiritual journey for a while knows that we don't get that. We don't get a plan. It's just it is a trust we have to lead. So how do we feel about not having a plan? And ultimately what we're doing, and if you're feeling kind of emotional, painful, and stay sustained, being uncomfortable, etc. The reason you feel like these, you're grieving, you're letting go of a life that, letting go of a version of you that you thought you were going to be. You had dreams, you had hopes. You worked so hard to be this version, and then the universe comes along and says, you know what? Actually, that version of you doesn't exist anymore. And then the universe asks you to go through a rebirth and let go of that version of you. And you're like, hold on a second, I worked so hard for that version. I love that version. Or maybe you don't. But letting go of needing a plan, letting go of the version of you, and actually feeling the abyss and the void that leaves, I feel like it's part of that journey. So again, I mean, before I stay, I'll tell you, for me, I mean, grieving that life that I worked so hard for, I feel like I've done that so often that um, I intentionally grieve that version of me, right? For anyone that listens to me quite regular or knows me, I just love, occasionally I just love going to a graveyard and just burying that version of me intentionally. A lot of time I'll do it at night when no one else is around, but even if you don't want to do that, you can go to a park, land in water, just, intentionally let go of the version of you. And at the same time, let go of needing to what's coming next. And being honest with yourself. So with Stacey, when I ask you to, when I say to you, bury that version of you and actually embrace not knowing what's coming next, embrace the void. Does that excite you? Does it scare you? Well, what is it that you feel?
Like I said, I think the void is the hardest place to be because you're in between the old and the new, and you can feel like there's no timeline, like there's no end in sight. It can be daunting. And for me right now, that's where I am. I'm in the in between. Um, I've said goodbye to so much, and I'm waiting to welcome in whatever's coming in this next season. And I'm not sure what that looks like right now. I feel scared, right? Of like, okay, am I going to be able to handle this new season in my life? What's it going to look like? Who's going to be involved? Like, it's a whole story in my head that I go through. And yet, my life looks nothing like I thought it would. So, who's to say it's going to go the direction that I'm anticipating anyway? So, I think more than anything right now, it's a season of faith, right? I have to trust that even though I can't see it, everything is working out for my highest good. Every lesson that I need is coming my way. Every person that I need to come in contact with is on their way to me. And it's all divine timing. And so when I'm leaning into the faith, the fear quiets and I just trust. The thing is, that fear voice does come into play. So I'm feeling a lot, Nims. There are moments where I feel amazing and excited and hopeful. And there are moments where I'm like, oh shit, how is this going to work out? And I'm doing a dance between the two.
I love it. And that's, kind of what we're all doing, right? It's that we have been asked to take a leap of faith. But if we're honest with ourselves and we just sat and just looked at and felt the last few years, how much control have we really had? For me, I feel like control is an illusion. This phase that we feel we're in right now, I just I feel like it's been going on for a while. Even through COVID, etc., we never really had any control. So, in ways, if we tap into that energy, that vibration, we used to not be in control. And like I said, for me, I love letting go of the version of me, and the way that I wasn't planning to, but I'm just thinking the words I use, I'll make up, I'll channel whatever they come through. But in this moment, I would say, I choose to let go of this version of me. I embrace him. I love him. I thank him for everything he's been through. And I celebrate him. I mourn him. But I choose to let him go. And then I just imagine every part of me just going into the ground. That's why I like doing this on grass or in a graveyard, barefoot or whatever. It's just like allowing, or standing in water is even better. And just saying whatever you feel like. I let go of this version of me and just let him or her go. It's a powerful thing to do, and the more intention you put around it is even better. And having a conversation like this with yourself, which is why I asked Stacey these questions, because the more that you can look in the mirror and have a powerful, honest conversation with yourself about feeling uncomfortable, about loving this version of ourselves, about being, actually resisting letting go of this version of you, all of that, having a powerful, honest conversation with yourself really does help. Acknowledging your fears, saying out, this is such an interesting period. I feel like we've been pushed to be out of our comfort zone. A lot of work that I'm doing with clients right now is really, and we've always done it, right? Pushing, this is what we do. We're expanded. But I feel like pushing people to be seen in a different way and putting people out of their comfort zone even more is more and more. And I feel like whether you're working with a mentor or whatever, I feel like the universe is putting you and pushing you out of your comfort zone. It's encouraging you to do things that you don't normally do. So I would encourage you, well, what can you do this week? What can you do today that puts you out of your comfort zone? Because it's like doing things out of your comfort zone. Being uncomfortable is actually what excites, what expands you. Always excites you, sometimes excites you, but will expand you. Because I don't feel like this phase is meant to be comfortable. I feel like we're meant to be feeling uncomfortable because that's how we expand. And trusting the unknown when we don't know, we can't make sense of it. It's not, logic is now out of the window. And the identity shift is happening, right? So, Stacey, in a kind of related question, when I asked you that, how are you embracing this new version of you? How are you what are you doing to kind of be in an uncomfortable situation that's going to help you grow?
I'm saying yes to a lot of things that make me uncomfortable. I really am. I went to an event last night that I was anxious about attending and was churning about, and I put my best foot forward and I said yes, and I went, and it was completely out of my comfort zone, but I did it. And I'm doing that a lot lately, Nims. Like, if it feels scary to me, I'm stepping into it and trying to experience everything I can. I know that on the other side of the uncomfortable is me getting to know myself even more, right? I'm going to get to know myself better than what I already do by doing things out of my comfort zone and things that make me uncomfortable. And so I'm just trying to say yes to every opportunity that comes my way, hoping that it's going to help me to get clearer and clearer and clearer about what my vision is for my life. And it's not easy, right? We all get comfortable, and we're naturally creatures of habit. But maybe that's not the way this next season is supposed to be done. Maybe it's going to require us to do some things that feel a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe it's going to require us to step outside of our comfort zone and try something new and different. And I absolutely will tell you, like, as nervous as I was, I felt so good after the event was done that I did it. And that confidence goes a long way, right? It builds us up. So I think there are a multitude of reasons why it's important to step out of your comfort zone. I just want our listeners to know, I know it's not easy. And I don't want it to sound like I'm making it sound so easy, because it's not. I just feel if the old life doesn't fit anymore and you feel like you've outgrown your life and you're moving in a direction of something new, you've got to be open to trying new things and having exposure to different people and different experiences in order to navigate that season of unknown. And it's been really powerful for me.
I love it. And I smile because I really feel like this phase we're meant to be uncomfortable. And maybe it's time to get used to being uncomfortable. But it's also recognizing that when you're feeling uncomfortable, you are actually growing. And Stacey and you were going to talk about the event because it's a great example, right? I mean, I agree. My deal with my guys is I'm just going to keep showing up wherever I feel they are being sent. However uncomfortable it makes me feel, I'm going to keep showing up. And I don't know what that means. I mean, I love what I get to do right now. I love, doing this podcast. I love doing the mentorship, but I do feel like new stuff's coming. And I've worked on being comfortable with being uncomfortable because I felt like it was important. So, again, I asked you guys the question, how do you feel about being uncomfortable? I really would encourage you, if you listen to this podcast, to do something that makes you feel uncomfortable. I know I asked earlier, but it's time. And what that does is, what you're sending a message up to the universe and your guides is, you know what, I'm ready to step up. I'm ready to stop playing small. And the reality of this phase and the energy we're in right now is everybody's going to feel it different. I feel like the last phase we were in, everybody was feeling uncomfortable. Everybody was going through cycles at the same time. I have people I work with are feeling amazing right now. I have other people that are going through a shift. And so how you feeling it is perfect. Like I said, I feel like the last phase, everybody was going through something intense, heavy. The energy felt heavy, intense. I feel like this energy is intense too, but I feel like we're going to experience things differently. And it also depends on the work that you've done. If you're still holding on to people that don't make sense, then the universe will push you. This is where it's going to feel uncomfortable. If you're just playing safe, then again, I feel like the universe will push you. I mean, this phase, I talk a lot about being in the holding pattern. This phase to me still feels like it's slow. Still feels like it's heavy. It feels like it's confusing. But I also feel like we've been prepared, and I feel like the shifts that are coming are going to be really quick. And I feel like the planet it's going to go through some uncomfortable shifts too. So it's like, get used to feeling uncomfortable. And if this phase feels slow or heavy and unclear, then be comfortable with that too. How do you feel about letting go of this version of you? I mean, I mentioned some words earlier. And the other thing that's really important, again, I talk a lot about it, is creating the void. You got to create some space for something new. Letting go of people that no longer serve. Doing things that you used to enjoy doing but don't. So you have to create space in your world for something new. And so let me ask you again, how are you creating space? And Stacey, I'm going to ask you this in a second, but I'm asking our listeners, how are you creating space in your world for something new? And what I mean by that is, what do you watch? So what do you listen to? What do you watch? But also the people and the things that you do regularly. Have you got space for something new? Or is your world so busy that you just don't feel like you've got the space? And if you haven't I would encourage you to trade it. But Stace, how do you feel about when I say to you, um, it's really important to create space? And I guess that shines out for me first. I'm very focused on doing the things that lift me up. And I feel like my friend circle is very small anyway, so I feel like the universe is already helped me to create space. So I feel like I'm ready. I feel like I have the space. I do love my own company, but again, I'm willing to give some of that up to allow new and important vibrations to come in. I feel like I've been creating space. I feel like the universe has been helping. But Stacey, how do you feel about creating space in your world? Do you feel like you have space for something new? How does it feel to you?
I feel like I've been saying yes to a lot of things. So I feel like there's not a lot of space in my life, but I feel like it's what I'm filling my space with, right? Is new things. And so I feel like if you want to experience something new, you've got to put yourself out there and be willing to make room for those new experiences. Otherwise, you're just reliving the past or sitting in the past or not letting yourself move forward. So for me, it's been all about making space for new things, making room to have these new experiences, allowing myself the opportunity to be uncomfortable, not knowing what is on the other side of this next experience that I said yes to. But I know that in that uncomfortable space, I'm growing. I know I am. And so I'm just allowing myself to keep busy with new opportunities and not let fear get in my way. I think that's a big thing for a lot of people is they let the fear get in the way. They feel that more and they sit in that space. I don't want to do that. I want to move forward and I want to explore this new season and what it's going to look like. Am I nervous? Absolutely. But I'm committed. And I think that's the difference.
Are you nervous? Yes, you are. But are you committed? Yes, you are. That's the difference. I love it. That should be on a t-shirt somewhere, right? So for me, it's like the stages of healing. Our first stage is always increasing your awareness. How do you increase your awareness? You change your question. You really ask, how do you feel about being uncomfortable? How do you feel about being this state? How do you feel about letting go of those people that no longer serve? I'm very aware that, when I talk about some of this stuff, that I make it sound simple. I know it isn't. If you've had people in your life that have, that have been there for a while, and at times they inspired you, but then now they're draining you, then it's easy for me to say, let go of those people. But because they've held you up, but if they're draining your energy, then let me ask you, are you serving you and are you serving them by keeping hold of them? And I get there's a fear, right? Because if you let go of them and there's this void, there's a gap in your world, what's it going to be filled with? But I feel like that gap is important. That void is important. This is a time to start trusting your intuition at such a deep level. Switching from I think to I feel. And ultimately, it's like when you start letting go of these things, they no longer serve. When you let go of, when you let go of everything external that doesn't serve you, that's when your intuition, your guide starts to speak louder. I feel like our guides are so much closer. I feel like the veil of amnesia is so much thinner so we can connect to the realms. So this is a time to meditate. This is a time to be in nature. This is a time to be present. And allow yourself to be supported by the other realm. 100% ask for help in this realm. And if you feel like our voices resonate, then reach out. You can book a free discovery call. Maybe we're meant to help you. Maybe we open your Akashic records, whatever that means. And if it's not us, look for the other people. Look for the person that's right, that lifts your soul up, that actually you have a soul contract with. Because ultimately, this phase is different. We've been asked to rebuild our life from alignment, from listening to our messages, from following the nudges, not from expectation. Because our expectation comes from our ego. It comes from, kind of everything we experience on this human plane. But if we're going to create something new, it's not going to come from what we experienced on the human plane. It's going to come from a different place. So when I ask you to listen to your intuition, I tap into your guides, and what I'm asking you to do is tap into new information you have access to that you've never had. So trusting your intuition is really tapping into a new knowledge base that you've never had knowledge before. And, again, if you're a regular listener, you probably heard me say, when you have a question, when you're not sure, check in with you first. I've gone into this habit of Googling it, or now we ask AI, right? Ask ChatGPT. No, check in with you first. I'm not asking you not to check with ChatGPT or whatever, but how do you feel about it? What is your intuition telling you? And it's tapping into that energy, tapping into your intuition, your knowledge that comes from a different state. And how does that come? That comes from having really strong self-care. It comes from, like I said earlier, time in meditation, actually getting proper rest. That is one of the things I'm trying to do better at, is just get better sleep. I mean, that rest is important. And my dreams are super vivid. And, I feel like as the veil is thinner, that's what happens. The more that you can just see, the more. And how do you just see? Is you do all these self-care things that we keep talking about. And it's remembering that you're not starting over. This energy doesn't feel like we're starting over. It feels like we're integrating everything we've learned, the experience of being on the planet. And yes, it's a new start, but it's not brand new. It's not starting everything over. You've worked so hard, so it's integrating the past to make sense. So letting go of that version of you. It's allowing this next chapter. It's like Stacey was saying, allowing this next chapter to reveal itself without trusting it's coming. And it's hard. I get it. It's really, really hard. You want to push for it. That's why it's like last week we did the episode on, feeling like you're doing everything, but you're still, not moving forward, or at least perceptibly not moving forward. And that's the other thing with this phase is sometimes it feels like nothing's happening. But a lot of the time, everything's happening behind the scenes. So you haven't listened to that episode, I would highly encourage it. Because it is that time of trust. Trusting your guides, trusting you. Understanding that what you're going isn't a failure, it's expanding. I feel like the planet is going through the biggest expansion it's ever been. And if your soul is here, if you chose to be here, then you're meant to be. And it means that you're a powerful being. So the more that you can tap into the power of your soul, the essence of who you are, the more power and the more energy and the vibration you get. So Stacey, what would your advice be to somebody that's kind of feeling this shift and feeling uncomfortable with it, really feeling uncomfortable about letting go of that version of themselves, but really wanting to embrace whatever's coming next? What would your advice be?
Well, my advice first is hold on, because it can be super challenging, right? But my first piece of advice would be hold on. You know that things are changing, you know that things are shifting. Try to stay in that good space. My other advice would be, I just met with a client, and my advice to her feels resonant for this, and that is, do what you can to enhance your spiritual time, your spiritual practices. Whether that is pulling cards, meditation, journaling, whatever your process is to connect, try to do a little bit more of that to allow yourself to be in a space where you feel held. Because that is a very reassuring feeling, to feel connected. So I would encourage you to do those things, but like enhance it a little bit more. If you normally spend 5 minutes meditating, try 10, right? It's not that big of a difference, but it might make a difference in how you feel and how you process things. And it's also going to help strengthen your intuition to help guide you on the journey to your answers, right? So the more stillness we create, the better, because then we can really listen to that inner voice. So I would absolutely encourage you to do whatever you can to build up that spiritual muscle. When I met with my client today, I told her that it was like she came to me saying she wants to run a marathon. You know, she really wants to connect with herself and understand more about herself. And the very thing that she's frantically trying to do is the very thing that I recommend you don't do. And that is, you don't want to scramble to get the answers. You want to try to be intentional and pause and allow yourself the space to process whatever's coming next. So, my biggest piece of advice is patience with yourself. Patience as you move forward through this new season. Allow yourself the space to understand that you don't have to have it all figured out right now, that it's going to come in pieces. And with each piece to that puzzle, another piece unfolds, right? So just allow yourself the space to process all of this. I promise you, like, nothing that is meant for you will miss you. What do you think, Nims? Is that good advice?
Yeah, that's great advice. I always love the phrase, whatever's for you will find you, whatever's not will miss you, and that's perfect, right? And patience. Patience is definitely one of my lessons in this lifetime for sure. Um, and just being gentle with yourself. You know, just like we were talking about last week. Just if you're trying to do so many things and trying to try different things, and I would just say less is more. Try a couple, and it's like, how do you know what's working if you're trying so many different things and you're still feeling stuck? Let's pick a couple of things. I we don't push too much about what we do on this podcast intentionally, but I just feel like there's so much we're doing right now that could help. Like the Facebook space, community space we're talking about for women, and my membership is a safe space to be held. Reaching out and being brave and booking a free discovery call jointly or individually with us, so we can share about what we do. It's we are really shifting into a time where it's about community, it's about co-creation. So yes, this phase may still feel lonely, may feel like you're letting go of so much, but it is like the last phase. I felt like we were meant to do so much alone. This phase, it's more like a co-creation. So you remember, you're not stuck. You've outgrown who you used to be because you've worked so hard. So this is because of the work that you've done. So you should be proud. There's no rush. Nothing's gonna, as Stacey said, we're not gonna miss anything. But I would highly encourage you: don't shift, don't force yourself to shrink to fit into your old life. Own this version of you. Stand in your power. Trust in you. And honestly, the new version of you can only meet this version of you once you've let go of that old version. Once you've let go of that expectation, the more you're holding on, the less, the harder it's going to be for the new version of you to come through. And again, we make that sound easy, but just, you can do the sort of things we talked about, a process of just letting go. We love you all very so. We try and give so much with this podcast and everything else we do. I'm sure Stacey would agree. We're both determined to guide as many people as we can. I love what I get to do on a regular basis. I'm sending you so much love and light. If I can help, if we can help, please do reach out. Stacey, as always, thank you for this space. Thank you for your knowledge, your wisdom, your light. And I love how, whatever episode we're doing, he's kind of like, you can relate it, right? And you relate it to a lot in terms of what's happening in your world. So thank you for being you, sending you lots of love and light. Any final words of wisdom, Stacey, before we close?
I just want our listeners, if they're going through a season of transition, to be patient with themselves. You know, it's so easy to feel like you're coming up short, you're not enough. Try as much as you can to recognize the powerful soul that you are and to move through this season of uncertainty in the best way that you can and try to be intentional. We're here to support you in any way we can. We love getting messages from our listeners. Please reach out to us if we can support you on your healing journey. Nims, as always, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me here with you. I love doing this podcast with you, buddy.
Yeah, so do I. So we are sending so much love and light out. As we've been saying, please do give us feedback. And if this episode resonated, please do like, comment, share. It really does help. We love you all so very much. We're sending you so much love and light. Be brave, be patient, be you. Bye for now.